Good morning. Good morning, coffee fans. It's me, Mitch, live from Command Central here on the patio. Welcome to morning coffee with Mitch. Let's start out the festivities. Drink it if you got it. Yes, here we are. It's Saturday. I could just sit here and drink coffee and listen to music and be a happy guy. But then I'd be ignoring all of you. Can't do that. How's everybody? Wow, look at it. Chat's rolling. Got some people in here already. 47 people are starting to climb in. Let me make sure I'm live on YouTube. I am, and let me make sure that I'm live on Rumble. Come on, baby. Yes, I am live on Rumble. Wow, I love it when a plan comes together, don't you? In the Rumble chat, Gary No Slow says, good morning. Ellen chimed in. Ellen is Olivia E2 on Rumble, in case you didn't know. And Mike Seeley Sr. chimed in on Rumble, as well as Ketra, who is Keet, K-E-T-E, on Rumble. Ketra's over there. So good morning to you, Rumble fans. Appreciate your effort to help this channel actually get some traction on Rumble. Something that really hasn't happened yet. But we'll see. I guess you got to do it. You got to pay your dues. So I'm paying my dues. Oh, wow. Look at the chat. It is dreary here this morning. It's dreary. I have lights. I had to put lights up to light my pretty face here this morning for you. It's gray outside. Even had a little rain today. And today is the day the plumbers are supposed to come. But because it's supposed to rain, especially tomorrow, but today, unfortunately, they're going to come today after the show is over, and they're going to kind of crawl around under my house, see what they're going to need. We're going to head off to probably Lowe's, buy all the stuff, and then next weekend, they're going to come back and actually replumb the house. So I had my hopes up that it'd be done today, but going to have to do it in stages, evidently. So that's the progress on that. This afternoon, 3 p.m., got a live stream. I'm going to do it from out here as well. Just leave this whole mess set up just the way it is and do the live stream from out here this afternoon. So my day is pretty well shot between plumbers and 2 live streams. I won't be able to take the rest of the day off until late this afternoon. But what are you going to do? Let me say hi first to the early birds and see if we can't run through that real quick, get onto my show notes, and then start doing what we do, answering some of your questions. So start putting them in the chat now. Q in front of them, 3 capital Qs. And before we know it, it'll probably be 10 o'clock. As they say in Latin, tempus fugit, means time flies. First one in last night at 6:40 p.m. I posted the stream early last night. Was Smoothie 420, how you doing? Followed by Mike Seeley from Tampa Bay, United Carnivore, B81 Mac chimed in. Aunt B chimed in last night. Nikki W, how you doing? Paul McGrogan chimed in. Retired Rick, the Furl Grandma. Lady June, now we get into about midnight. She was at 11:30. Sandy Blythe checked in at 12:53, 1 o'clock in the morning. Here comes the parade of the insomniacs. Mike Seeley from Tampa again up at 3:50 this morning. Lynn Gerber about 4:28. Tuca chimed in at 5:28. Of course, it's later over there in Finland. Wayne Herman at 6:04. At least some of you guys actually got some sleep. Michael Pregler chimed in. Granny Boo 2 at 7. Mike Seeley Sr. about 7:15. Bob Black chimed in. Now we're warming up here. Nikki W is back. Gary Arzamendi, how you doing? Where's the butter? He's still looking for the butter. Man, between you and Steve Studley, man, you think there was a butter shortage? Granny Boo 2 says she's probably going to be missing. Got to feed cows. Oh, man. Feed those cows. We need them. Jerry Hall is here. Retired Rick is here. Nikki W chimed back in. And CB Carmack, how you doing? I just went back and screen recorded the diet soda explanation from yesterday. Oh, okay. I suppose I might have been able to make a standalone video out of that too, but I don't want to overdo that. Most of you guys have seen it already live and in person or on the replay of the morning live streams. But like that little cholesterol explanation that I made, some things I think are just worthy of creating what we call legacy videos that don't just get buried in time like all the live streams do after they have a run of about 24 hours of people either watching live or watching the replays. Cliff Medina's here. How you doing? And I'm going to go back to CB. CB, I went about 6 o'clock this morning to the post office and I got your package. Wow. And I want to show those today. But what I did, I left them in the house and I'm going to have to take a 1-minute break sometime here and just let you listen to a little music while I run in the house and get the things that CB sent me. They are, I would not be exaggerating if I say monumental, historical. Call them artifacts, call them what you will, of the main things that caused every health problem we have now in this country and have killed probably by this time hundreds of millions of people. And I have to show them to you. And I'll probably show them again on the live stream this afternoon. I was awestruck when I opened the package and first handled these pieces of absolute history. And the significance of them cannot be underestimated in any way, shape, or form. But to the average person out there, these would be just meaningless things. They would have no idea of what they actually represented. So CB, I can't thank you enough, man. I'll treasure these things. Not for what they represent, but just to be in possession of some pieces of history like this. That's quite a buildup, and I'm going to have to go in and get them, but you're not going to believe it. You are not going to believe it. Jeff Johnson, the name you know. How you doing, Jeff? Visiting your daughter. Well, always great to get together with your kids. Give her our love as well. Marla Kelly was here. 8:15, Wanda Gerling checked in. 8:22, sneaking up on the bell. I checked in and said, good morning, coffee lovers. And I wish I had the bright sun on my face and it was a glorious morning. But this is the kind of morning that you look outside and if you're not a happy guy, you could get very depressed. We'll try not to do that here. We'll try to keep this positive, upbeat, helpful, motivational, and informative. All of that in a mere hour and a half. I amaze even myself. Ellen, hey, good morning, Ellen. How you doing? And Nikki W is here again at 8:24. Terry Sue says good morning, and all you non-methylene gas spreaders, 38 degrees in Northern California. Wow, wow, wow. Wow, Nikki, yes, Nikki ordered a Mitch Fitz sweatshirt. Oh, man, they're gorgeous. Can't wait to get it. You better, Nikki, send pictures. I know you've already sent me a picture, but send me another picture. I want to put it up on the website. I get such a kick out of those pictures, seeing you guys wear my silly T-shirts. And Tanya, how you doing, Tanya? Another day of waking up and feeling great. Yes, 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 yes. Yes, yes, yes. 8:26, Bryce Hatch checked in. And Tina's here. Hiya, Tina. Tina Schweikerath at 8:26. No, Madia Van. Is it cold in Florida? No, it's actually probably right where it should be. It's about 64 degrees out here now. It's a little damp, unfortunately, because of the overcast skies and the fact that we had rain, but that makes it feel colder. If I was sitting here and it was 65 degrees and the sun was shining in, I would probably not have the jacket on, and it would feel glorious with that bright sun on my face. But unfortunately, it's not. Tom, hi, Tom, Viking 442 from Tampa. Loretta Nadow, good morning, everyone. She says, have a beautiful day, 8:27. We're coming up on it. And Patty Molden checked in. Good morning, Patty, at 8:28. God, we're sneaking up on it, getting close. Barefoot Betty says good morning. And Carnivore Butcher is here. Ribeye Susie, 8:29. Ketra, how you doing, Ketra? Good to see you. Another good morning besides the one on Rumble for you. And B81 Mac checked in at 8:29, and Edward Renner at 8:29, and Gary No Slow at 8:29, Wayne Herman, and ding, 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 the winner today, first at the bell, retired Rick. Yes, sir, what an occasion. And CB Carmack came in about a millisecond later ringing the bell, says ding, ding, ding. Thank you, CB, for the help. And Aaron Booby Goats is here. Mark Whistler's here. Good morning, Mark. All at 8:30. Eva Puckett, Dixie Scott. Tanya chimed in at 8:30. And Tanya was the first one at 8:31 to start the stream. Well, that's great. Good morning to you. Good morning to you all. And let me grab a few of the early birds here. Say hello, get that out of the way. Take a 1-minute intermission while I fly into the house and get those things I want to show you, and we'll get into the show notes. So, Lewis L. Hiya, Lewis. How you doing? Good to see you. Celia Heil is here down in Panama, having a beautiful day. I envy you that. I envy you that. Mama Bear chimed in. Hiya, Mama Bear. How you doing? And I'll go until I see mostly chat and not too many new people. Jerry Voitush, how you doing, Jerry? Good to see you. Good to see you. Tuka's here. Hey, Tuka. Hey, Mitch Fitz, he says. Yeah, I guess that name is kind of stuck, hasn't it? Oh, it has. Yeah. I like it, though. I like it. Michael Pregler, good morning, Mike. Ellen, he says, did you catch Nick Norwood's red light video? No, I didn't catch that one either. You just can't catch all this stuff, unfortunately. And Aunt B has the first question of the day. Hey, it's funny. Did you mark all the areas so the plumbers don't bump their heads? That's their problem. There are no, it's only areas where you can bump your head down there. I'm sure they're more used to it and do a lot more of this kind of stuff than I do. That's why they get paid for it. Karen Travis, good morning, Karen. Good to see you. Here's somebody I haven't seen very often, Anna PL07. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Says good morning, everybody. Tuka asks me how I am, and as usual, if I were any better, it would be illegal. Gary Arzamendi from California, an early riser out there. Hi, Gary. How you doing? How you doing, my friend? And let me see, Spiritual Nomad is here. Pinellas Park, Florida. Wow, wow, wow. Hi, Brooke. How you doing? Pinellas Park. For a lot of years, I actually lived in St. Petersburg, right off of 66th. And God, I can't tell you how many times I drove up and down through Pinellas Park, going up to Largo or to Clearwater or Seminole. And then I moved. We built a house out in Whispering Pines, north of Pinellas Park. So, yeah, that was my old stomping grounds. Wow, wow, wow. Small world. Small world. Pamela Suarez is here. Hi, Pamela. How you doing? Good to see you. And Carl, Carnivore Forever West, says good morning. Good morning to you. Aunt B is here. Peter, good morning, Peter. How you doing? How you doing? Eric C is here. James Ballou is here. Says good morning, everybody. And David has a question. How do you like chuck eye steak? Didn't I answer this for somebody yesterday? I think it's a very good cut, basically the end section. Yeah, I saw that. I think it's inexpensive. Yeah, and I answered this yesterday. I don't know if you asked it or somebody else asked it, but yeah, it's a great cut of meat, and it's as close to a ribeye as you're going to get, because it's where the chuck roll, the whole chuck roll that contains all the chuck roasts, Delmonico's. Well, there's a couple of steaks that are actually attached to the end of what is the ribeyes, and they're ribeye-like and almost as good as a ribeye, if not as good. And usually you can get them, if you can find them, priced like a chuck would be priced. But most people, the only way they can get them is to buy that whole chuck roll and, go to butcher's school. And a lot of people do that. I haven't done that and don't want to do that because I like chuck, but seeing as I just feed myself, that's an awful lot of chuck just to get a couple of chuck eyes and Delmonico's out of it. I haven't really been able to justify that. Someday I'm going to probably do it, though. And who else I got here that I haven't said hi to? Danny in Boston. How you doing, Danny? Good to see you. And I think I'm at a point in the chat about 10 minutes into the stream. Wow, it's already 22. Time goes by so fast because I just talk so much. I guess that's why we're here, though. So I can't fault that. Everybody's saying hi to everybody. And here's somebody I haven't said hi to yet, Deborah Wise Gal. Good morning. And I hope we do all have a blessed day. Thank you. You too. You too. I think I'm seeing people chatting back and forth. And here's CB says, I meant to send the package earlier, but CB. And the last thing you got to do is apologize. That's for sure, man. I am so grateful. And I was so awestruck when I opened that thing. I mean, I knew part of what I was getting, but the surprise that you threw in there for me just kind of took my breath away. It was really, really something. Nikki W. is expressing some frustration in something that attacks us all and sometimes causes us to send embarrassing sounding texts and emails called autocorrect. I hate it. I hate it. I'd rather just have typos in there than have the autocorrect put in a word that changes the entire context and meaning of what you're trying to get across and turns it into something you would never say on purpose. I'm with you on that one. I'm with you on that one. Boyd Lamb. Hey, Boyd, how you doing? Good to see you here this morning. My carniversary is coming up January 20th. Wow, January 20th. What a day that's going to be. Not only do we have the inauguration, not only are we going to have a live stream at 7 p.m. to celebrate all the occasions of the day, hoping that everything went as planned, but it's also a federal holiday. It's Martin Luther King Day for those of you who celebrate that. That was David said that. David said that, not Boyd. Yeah. Boyd Lamb is saying, Mike, is there something wrong with my audio? Papa Carnivore, if Kelly is sounding too loud, most devices, I don't understand. What are we talking about? I haven't been following. This is the latest, Chet. Is my audio sounding good here this morning, or am I too loud? Or is everything good? Somebody tell me. I don't want to be blasting your brains out here. Let me look at the audio. According to my meters here, I seem to be doing okay, but I can turn it down a little bit. Mike, loud and clear. Thank you, CB. Thank you. Okay, I don't want to be blasting you all, but when I see people saying Mike, and then Peter commented about Kelly, Kelly is not contributing any audio to this. I don't know what that meant. But in my pursuit of show business perfection, and the reason I have all of this crap out here is to try to make it watchable, at least with no annoyances happening during the stream. Jesse Farmer, how you doing? Okay, here's another question. Then I'm going to break off of this. My carniversary is coming up 20 January, 2 years, 1 years. My 3-year carniversary will be August the 1st. All right, we will leave it there. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to give you this view. I'm going to put on some music for you. Let you listen. I am going to run in the house as quick as I can. In 1 minute, come back out here with the stuff that I want to show you. It's going to be worth the wait, my friends. I guarantee you. I will be right back. I move pretty quick for an old fart, I'm telling you. Wow. Okay, I'm back. Thank you for your patience, my friends. Okay, I stopped the music. I cleared the screen. I don't have anybody's chat hanging around up there covering everything up that I want to show you. Sip of coffee. Okay, here's the backstory. Let me take a look at my show notes, get a few things out of the way, the least of which is to put my Buy Me a Coffee link in the chat, something I just have to do every day. And all my appreciation goes out to those of you who actually use that thing. Some of you basically are regulars, and you have no idea how much I appreciate that support. It means a lot to me. And the money is the least of it. Just the fact that makes me feel I'm appreciated. And I always tell you, if you can't, don't. Please. Please. But if you can, okay. And the Amazon links. Don't forget them. Don't forget them. I got the new t-shirt up there. And a bunch of you have bought those things. And I can't wait to see those pictures. I just can't wait. I can't wait. I'm going to put the Mitch Fits logo up in the corner here in the upper right for you, so you can enjoy that. And imagine running around with a t-shirt like that. People will wonder, what the hell does that mean? Mitch Fits eat meat with bacon strips. Just the look on some of their faces will be worth it. I know when I wear some of my food pyramid t-shirts, people kind of look at me like I'm from another planet. It's great. It's great. Okay, let me find my show notes. Not a lot here. I told you to put questions in there. You guys are doing that. Buy Me a Coffee link. I put that up there. We have a meetup a week from Tuesday on the 28th of January here in Melbourne. I've received some RSVPs. We're going to have a great time. Going to have a fabulous lunch of full meat. And if you're anywhere in the neighborhood of Melbourne, Florida, around the Space Coast, love to see you. RSVP to my Gmail address, oldguycarnivore@gmail.com. And that's in the description of every video. So you can find that's also on my website. There's a contact me page, and it's on there. So you should be able to find it. I talked about my blood test results yesterday. I'm going to be making a short video about them, because they are what they are. I was very pleased with them. It says here new t-shirts. Okay, that's about all I really wanted to get into today. Okay, I want to show you what I got from CB. The first thing I got is this book. It's an old book, and it's very hard. I can hardly read the title, but right up here it says, and you can see the CO right there, it says The Crisco Story. And this book is so old that I think you have to handle it very carefully, because and maybe this view will be better. I don't know. Let me see. Now, no, you have to handle it very carefully, because it's over 100 years old. It's incredible. What it is a story of the development of Crisco. I haven't read the book yet. I just picked it up this morning. I have to be very careful turning these pages. But if you look at the title page here, can I see this? Can you see that? It says The Story of Crisco. And most of this is a cookbook. And this book is just a huge public relations and advertising effort by Crisco to introduce. And if this says it was printed in 1913, can you imagine? 1913. There are probably fewer than a handful of human beings alive today that were alive on this planet when this book was printed. And the price of this book when it was printed was 25 cents. And it says right in here, price, 25 cents. Man, we have certainly seen some changes in 112 years, because that's how long ago this book was printed. And primarily, it's a book, it's just a book full of recipes, all kinds of recipes and stories, breads. I mean, I've never seen, I mean, as a cookbook, this thing has got more recipes in it than just about any cookbook I've ever seen. It was quite a work to do. The historical significance of Crisco cannot be underestimated. It was step one, the first event that started us on the poisonous downfall of the American, and then followed by the world, the American diet, when they figured out a way to hydrogenize industrial oils like cottonseed oil and those that were basically used to lubricate machinery, and figured out a way to make them solid at room temperature, white looking, and replace animal fats. And with Crisco came the beginnings of the propaganda that this was better for us. These seed oil based things were better for us. And books like this, with all these fabulous recipes that showed the housewives of America that they could be not only healthy, but make better tasting food by using motor oil, basically, instead of real food. And that was the beginning. And this book, the significance of this book, marks the beginning at a time when the Seventh-day Adventists and Ellen G. White and Harvey Kellogg and them were transitioning the thinking along the lines of health of the American people towards the fact that animals aren't good for you. And of course, their impetus was that red meat caused sexual thoughts and impure thoughts in men and caused them to masturbate, and we can't have that. The temperance ladies, they wouldn't put up with that. So that was the beginning. That was the beginning. So CB, I know you scour sites like, excuse me a second, let me elevate myself just a little bit. There we go. I know you scour the internet and the sites finding some of these historical, and they're artifacts. They really are artifacts. Can you imagine where this book has been? People that have owned it. And interestingly enough, on the first page, on the inside cover, is somebody's handwriting. And what do they write? The things that they didn't want to forget, that meant the most to them. The first entry says prune sauce recipe, page 80. And the second says apple fritters, 78. So 112 years ago, the original purchaser of this book, the first thing that they thought was important and they wanted to make a note of in here were things that were primarily sugar. And everything old is new again, as they say, because that's the first thing that people dive into. And this gave them permission to do that, because now, miracle of miracles, modern science prevailing back in 1913, not only could we have that addictive stuff, but we're being reassured that it is the healthier alternative for us than eating that nasty animal fat. And back then, of course, they would assume that eating fat makes you fat, because that Would be a logical assumption. Not. All right, I have another thing to show you, but before I show you that, I think we need to get happy. Yes, because it is after 9 o'clock already. Holy cow. Excuse me while I light my cigar. And thank you, all 131 of you here on a Saturday morning. Isn't that great? And let me take a quick look. Let me just take a quick look at Rumble and see if anybody else showed up. Now, same people that you are chatting in Rumble. That's great. Great. Good to see it. Take this opportunity to drink it if you got it. What you're witnessing, my friends, is the art of properly lighting a cigar. Yes. That's good. Okay. I appreciate you guys putting up with me. Alrighty. Okay, and it looks like I have something to report. Jerry Voitush bought me a cigar. No, well, I could use the money for a cigar. He bought me a coffee. Thank you, Jerry. Thank you. Have a great weekend. And even though you don't follow sports, go Lions. Okay. In your honor, I will root for the Lions. I don't even know who they are, but so much I know about sports. Thank you, Jerry. Thank you, Jerry, so much. And Boyd Lamb bought me 3 coffees. Thank you, Boyd. WTH, he says. Eating pounds of free hotel bacon and gallons of free hotel coffee a day. Throw you some bones. Thanks, my friend. Thank you very much, Boyd. Really appreciate that. Really appreciate that. Very nice of you. And let me take a quick look over here and see what else is happening. And somebody just bought something somebody bought a Mitch Fitz t-shirt. Brooke. Thank you so much, my friend. Enjoy it. Send me a picture. Bought a black one. Cool. Yeah. I think the black one's going to be the best color for that logo. But when you click through the colors in the store there, it looks good on any color. Looks great. It even looks good on the siding of my house up there in the upper right-hand corner. So thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate all of that. Now, I showed you the Crisco book. This next thing that CB sent me, and I know I'm dragging this out to keep the suspense up, but this, my friend, is something that will absolutely blow your mind. Something every one of you has seen over and over again when people talk about how could we possibly have made the mistake when it comes to cholesterol of thinking in any way that it was cholesterol and animal fats that were responsible for the epidemic of heart disease and not the sugar. How did that happen? And we all know how that happened. It happened because of this guy right here. Yeah, he should be upside down. It happened because of this guy right here, Ansel Keys. And What you're looking at, my friend, is a copy, an actual copy of that Time magazine from 1961, where they were turning this man into a hero for saving all of our lives from the terrible fate of heart attacks and heart disease by focusing on cholesterol, which led to probably the death, I would not hesitate to say, not only millions of people, but hundreds of millions of people who suffered because they were focusing on animal fats and red meat and thinking that the seed oils and the fruits and vegetables that they were eating were saving their lives, when in reality, they were the cause. We know that, but nobody else knows that. We were the cause, that they were the cause of virtually every problem that we, as a small community of Mitch Fits, are trying so hard to fix by going back and eating nothing but the stuff that this guy spent his life and life in politics. And he was a fish physiologist. That's what he was. And this magazine, this even has the mailing sticker on it. And it was sent originally to a woman named Mary E. Guidoboni, Guidoboni, in Boston, Massachusetts. And the date on this magazine is January the 13th. Let's see if you can, if you can see that. Anyway, it's too hard to read on this thing here. January the 13th, 1961. This thing is all sealed up in plastic with a cardboard insert to keep it straight. I'll never open it. I'll never read what it says, but I'll go online, and of course online I'll be able to find the article about physiologist, and it says right there, physiologist Ansel Keys. This, even though it represents death and suffering, is a treasure for anybody that appreciates history. And CB sending me this just bowled me over. Bowled me over, man. I can't even begin to tell you what I think a treasure this is, even though, like I say, it represents tremendous death and suffering and misinformation and propaganda and fraud and everything else. This guy in mainstream is still a hero. That's how misled we are. That's exactly how misled we are. I mean, it's terrible. So I got that package this morning with these two items in it, and each one of them individually and collectively, they can tell the story of the downfall of the health of the human race on the planet Earth. And what I think is bringing us just closer to extinction as a species if we keep doing this and don't fix it at a scale certainly much larger than 141 people watching some old fart in Florida sitting on his patio smoking a cigar, drinking coffee, and trying to inject a little reality and truth into the most serious problem facing our species on the planet. And it's not drones, and it's not elections, it's not anything else. Nothing comes close. Everything pales in comparison to the damage to the human race that these two artifacts represent. And I'll cherish them, CB, and never be able to express my appreciation and for the thoughtfulness of you actually sending these to me. Boggles my mind. And I hope I've expressed that adequately so everybody can actually appreciate just exactly how much I appreciated it. Okay, I did want to do that, and I'll show them off again. I'll show them off again this afternoon on the live stream because there'll be people there that weren't here. But that's something. That's something. I never thought I'd hold a copy of either of those in my hand, and I have some things, some possessions of mine that are monumental, historical type artifacts. That I value, and believe me, these are right in there with those things that represent turning points in history, turning points that illustrate what they call the butterfly effect. I won't get into that. Most of you have heard that term, where one small, almost inconsequential sounding little event can change the course of humanity from everything that follows it. Yeah. I'm still awestruck by that. Okay. So let's get back to work here, my friends. Let's get back to work, and I will start to search out some questions in the chat and try to say, I am, of course, way behind in the chat, about 30 minutes. Well, you know what? Wow, I got a good deal of the chat covered earlier, so not too bad. About usual. Well, let me start running down the chat here and see what I either want to comment on, but or a question, or even if I see somebody new like Scott Evans and say, "Good morning, Scott. How are you doing? How you doing?" And CB chimed in telling me my mic sounds great. Thank you, CB. Thank you so much. I hope I didn't embarrass you too much with all of the appreciation I just laid on you, but you're a gentleman and a scholar, my friend. There aren't too many of us left either. That's a joke, by the way. And Tina tells me I sound great too, Patty. Yeah, everybody's telling me great. Daniil Q, how you doing? Audio is great, Mitch, he says. Great, thank you. And here's a question, and the question says, "Hi, Mitch. It's Karen from Germany. Guten Tag, Karen. How are you? You converted me 8 months ago. Thank you. Question, do you worry about the endocrine disruptors in air fryers?" Not in the slightest little bit. If you're talking about the coatings they use or anything, no. I don't worry about that stuff. The tiny little bit of these PFAS-free nonstick coatings they use these days that actually might end up in the food. I know that whatever it is, our bodies have many. We have an immune system. We have pathways and processes to detoxify small amounts of just about any toxin. And we can do that. And I don't worry about those things, just like I don't worry about antibacterial wipes and sprays and using antibacterial lotions on my skin to kill all those bacteria. We evolved dealing with those bacteria, and by not dealing with them, we do ourselves more harm than good. We don't allow our immune systems to recognize and mount defenses against those things. And that's why the people that get the most vaccines, the people that wipe down everything for their children and won't let their children near a bug, and they're germophobic, they end up with kids that are sick their entire life. They get every cold, every flu, everything that comes along. They are defenseless against. Vaccinations are a great thing when they were invented, but I think we have way overdone it, because generally in all this antibacterial stuff, we kill all the beneficial bacteria that we need as well, right along with them, man. It's like a flamethrower, the good and the bad. Okay, you guys are talking about Kelly Hogan. I don't follow Kelly Hogan, but I admire her. Sharon Dingus is here. How you doing, Sharon? Good to see you. Love the musical interlude. Well, I'll take an intermission more often. That's it. And that's funny. Tanya says, who's in charge? Well, you guys were in charge while I was gone. I turn it over to you. If I had a panel here during one of the live streams, I would just say be right back and let you guys go at it for a while. You don't need me half the time. And Booby says, Ellen had the wrench. Yes, Ellen has moderator status here. So she would be, I guess, de facto in charge. And looking for questions. And there is my Buy Me a Coffee link. And I always take that as a cue to put it in there again, because it's what I need to do, guys. So I just do it, trying to feel no shame. Let's see. Looking for questions. Gary says, our meetup's on his birthday. Well, happy birthday. Happy birthday, my friend. Wish you could be here, but I know it's a long drive from California. Yes, it is. Questions. I'm still trying to read it. Yeah, Peter says 1913 is a year prior to World War I. Wow. Yeah, that goes back. That really goes back. Tammy says, awesome book. That's some gift. Yes. Brooke says, over 100 years of effects on our health. Yes. I'm reading and looking for questions. That's funny. Tom says, it's shake and bake and I have. I remember that commercial. I can still hear it in my head in that southern accent. It's shake and bake and I helped. Remember that? That was a long time ago. Questions. A lot of comments on the books. We're still commenting on the Crisco book. I'm looking for the comments on the Newsweek with our hero. Fish. You say fish physiologist 3 times. Our hero, Ansel Keys, on the cover. Thank you, Peter. Peter really enjoys my cigar lighting ceremony. Glad you do. We're up to 149 people Saturday morning. Good to see. Somebody likes my show business aspect of this thing. She says, Cecilia Heil says, oh my God, your build-up to the Crisco book cannot be underestimated. Well, I try to make this stuff entertaining. I try to, have a little suspense, arouse a little curiosity, and hopefully none of you were let down when I actually got to the real thing, what I was talking about. I don't think I overestimated the importance of either of those things. In fact, I know I didn't. Anna's trying to become a membership. Yeah, Google makes it real hard because you got to go through that Google Pay, and I can't even begin to help you with that. That's something everybody's got to figure out for themselves, and I appreciate the effort. If you are trying to join our private community and can't, unfortunately, all that goes through Google. Even I have trouble with that. When I have to pay for something with Google Pay, something always screws up. Excuse me. Want a little music? All right. There you go. Just in time for it to end, but it'll loop again. There it is. Aha. Okay. So now, looking for questions. Looking for questions. Guys, have interesting conversations in the chat. You really do. Okay, Tammy Petard says, wow, I'd love that magazine. Cool stuff. Yes, isn't it amazing? And I don't think there's very few of you, if any, that haven't seen an image of that cover on that magazine countless times. Because it was a turning point stuff. And that was back in 61. It eventually resulted in 1977 in our first food pyramid, pushing those, was it 6 to 11 servings of healthy whole grains every day with no more than a couple of ounces of lean meat, preferably chicken breast, but not red meat, perish the thought. No fat, low fat diets that forced us into an era of replacing fat with carbohydrates, converting virtually every American on the planet from fat burning metabolism to sugar metabolizing with all the toxic effects of the sugars. And if that wasn't bad enough, pushing the seed oils, which are poisonous, over the animal fats, which we absolutely need to run our machinery and be healthy. It boggles the mind. How could they be so wrong about virtually everything and sustain that misconception for 60 to 70 years? How could they do that? And the answer to that is greed, corruption, evil, self-serving sociopaths at the top. And propaganda. That's how they do it. Rudolph White, how you doing? Rudolph says, yes, in today's world, you can't even say eat meat anymore. You have to say eat protein. Well, that's because they have it out. Because plants have proteins too, although they're not as complete as the proteins in meat. And that's what people don't understand. Protein is not protein. All protein is not equal. And the only proteins that contain the full range of amino acids that the human animal needs are animal products. And if you try to get your proteins from a plant, you're always going to fall short. You end up with 30 different supplements you got to keep track of. And you got to hire an accountant just to keep up with it, and a pharmacist to measure those things out for you every day. How else are you going to keep track of 30 different pills you got to take at different schedules? It's impossible. It's impossible. Okay, you guys are talking and commenting on all the seed oils and the animal fats, and I'm looking for questions, and let me start running here because now I'm really behind. Holy cow. Holy cow. Lat's here. How you doing? Good to see you, Lat. Lat says, I'm back again in the UK. Yeah, good to see you. Harry Dion is here. Hi, Harry. How are you? How are you? There's somebody new, HWMO Liberty. How you doing? What's y'all's favorite brand of coffee from home? I'll let everybody in the chat answer that one for you. Here we go. Question, what's your favorite brand of coffee? Okay, you came back in and put it to me. What do you put in it? My favorite brand of coffee, I don't have a real favorite. I find something I like and I buy it if it's on sale. I've been drinking the McCafe stuff. I use the Keurig machine and use the K-cups, make 1 cup at a time. That way I don't make a whole pot of it and end up drinking the whole pot. And I like the McCafe, and I put nothing in it. I drink it black. Question, here's a question from Mike Silly Sr. Did you see on the news Steak and Shake? I saw that. Steak and Shake. This is a holy cow. I mean, think of the significance of that. Think how politically incorrect that is in our current dietary paradigm of healthy fruits and vegetables, healthy whole grains, healthy vegetable oils, which are seed oils, and bad red meat that causes everything from cancer to diabetes and heart attacks. And for a restaurant chain, God, I can't even imagine what it took for them to convince their board of directors to do a thing like that. And I'm hopeful that they don't lose because of it. I'm hopeful that they don't lose. I'm hopeful that people aren't so brainwashed that they will view this as Steak and Shake trying to kill them. And you know people will. You know the vegans are going to be marching, protest signs, throwing cow's blood all over their front doors. You know these radical activists are going to make a big stink out of this. You know that the propaganda that you're going to see, at least I hope not, but I expect it. It would be par for the course that the propaganda coming from the enemies of meat, the animal rights activists, all of that, they're not going to take this stuff sitting still. I think they're supposed to start doing that right away. For those people who love French fries out there, the upside, I think, would be they'll be able to go to a place and get some French fries that actually will be the best French fries you can get in any restaurant anywhere that aren't fried in canola oil or something like that. Peanut oil is French fries and peanut oil are delicious, man. When I was overseas in the Army, I went to Belgium, and they're like home of the pommes frites, the French fries fried in peanut oil, and they were, without a doubt, some of the best French fries I've ever had. But I also remember from my teenage years when McDonald's first opened their first restaurant anywhere near me across the street from my high school in Philadelphia. The first time anybody ever saw Golden Arches, they had the best French fries in the world because they fried them in tallow. And for the longest time, in fact, I think that helped them get their start, were just how good those potatoes were fried in tallow. But that was a long time ago, just at the beginnings. Even before or right around the time Ansel Keys' face was showing up. Because I was in high school in 1961. I was in high school. I graduated in 64. So right around the time this Newsweek magazine came out with Ansel Keys' picture on it, I was eating French fries made in tallow at a McDonald's, and the world had not completely lost its mind yet. But it did happen. HWMO Liberty question, are you 100% carnivore all the time, or do you ever have bread? I have not had a bite of bread in 2.5 years. I am 100% carnivore, except for coffee. And when I go to a barbecue joint with my son and we order brisket, we just eat meat with a side of meat. I know they're putting a little bit of a rub on that brisket, and I'm probably getting a few grams of some kind of sugar in there. I don't worry about that kind of stuff. Nobody. You got to live too. But I think I'm as carnivore as a human being can be, because I have not had a leaf of lettuce, a molecule of something that comes from a plant, other than the coffee. And it just kind of we just run water over that. And the good news about coffee, I said the other day, it's one of the few things that come from the plant kingdom that has no oxalates in the coffee beans. I'm sure the There's plenty of oxalates in the plant, the stalks, the leaves, but the beans, no oxalates. So tea, on the other hand, is steeped from the leaves of a plant, and that contains a decent amount of oxalates. So I have been on an absolute zero oxalate diet and a zero seed oil diet. Zero. For 2.5 years with a few grams of barbecue rub every once in a while when I do eat out, which I don't do at all, ever, unless it's having lunch with my son. Here's a question from CB Carmack. Question, you're not going to throw those behind your back in a rant like you did Sally Norton's book, are you? No effing way, CB. I am going to, more than likely, my friend, after I get done making a video about this book and gingerly leafing through it and photographing parts of this for the video, talking about this, talking about what this book means, when I'm done, I am going to put this in a vacuum seal bag. Turn on the WeVac vacuum sealer and preserve this thing. I'm going to preserve this thing in vacuum. And I'll be able to look at the cover, and I'm going to display it somewhere in my house. But I don't want the elements or anything that might get to this, moisture, mold, anything to happen on this book. I think that may not have a huge monetary value. I know it's worth something, man. It was very generous of you to send it to me. I mean, it's not a museum $100 million book. Most people don't even recognize the significance of this book, but to me, it is that valuable, and I'm going to preserve it. So, no throwing it like the $13 book I got from Amazon over my shoulder, because it turned out, even though I agree with Sally and everything she says, the book was not meant for carnivores. It was meant for people who continue to eat the crap that they eat and how to avoid oxalates while doing so. And in that department, that was what most of the book seemed to be about. After she talked about the problem, which is real, being on a non-oxalate diet already, nothing else in that book had any relevance to me. You can't eat less than zero oxalates, and any techniques or methods of preparing vegetables to reduce the number of oxalates, or which vegetables to avoid to reduce oxalates, is an academic moot point, because when you're eating zero oxalates, none of that's relevant. What do you care? That's like me trying to figure out how to make low-carb versions of cakes and cookies and pizza crust. When you eat no carbs, you have no use for those recipes, or the books full of those recipes that were written for people who are addicts, don't know it, and that book gives them an excuse to think they're doing something good for themselves, while in reality, all they're doing is perpetuating their addictions and never curing it, as I did for 75 years of my life. That's just the reality. But yes, CB, I think we're both on the same wavelength on that message. Questions. I'm looking, and I have to start going faster and not read every one of them like I've been doing. I like to read them and comment on them, but I got a plumber coming, and I got a live stream this afternoon, and I can't be here all day, and I'm already 20 till 10. Wow. Question from Anna, PL07. Do you eat boiled beef or only fried? I eat beef sous vide, pan seared, occasionally oven roasted, smoked, but I never boil anything. I can't remember the last time I even boiled water for any reason. Hope that answers that question. Doesn't mean that boiling things is bad. A lot of people use pressure cookers. That's great if you got to feed a lot of people in a big hurry. But I just settle in, and every one of us is going to settle into the thing we find most convenient for us. For me, it's how fast can I do it? How little cleanup can I have involved? And yet have it be as delicious as any other way. Because that does play a role in it. You want your food, when you're eating such a limited variety of food, you want it to be delicious. You want to at least enjoy the act of eating, not rush through it, savor the food. Tammy's got to leave, says, see y'all Mitch Fits later. Okay. I'm sure you're long gone by the time I got to that. It's the only detriment to being behind in the chat when you're looking for questions is I'm going back in history here. HWMO Liberty, boy, you're full of questions today. Do you count protein grams or have a goal? Do you use Premier Protein? I don't do any of that. I don't count anything. The only thing I concern myself is, am I eating fatty enough food to get my around 70% of my calories every day from fat? And I do that by eating bacon and eggs almost every day, and fatty beef or some other fatty meat for dinner. I don't count anything. I don't live by numbers. That works for me. Some people they need to live by numbers. And holy cow, how'd that happen? Did I skip ahead in the chat here? I came to the end of the chat. Wow. Oh, I must have missed something here. Did this thing skip down to the bottom on me? It does that sometimes. Or have I just been reading so fast? At any rate, God, I hope I didn't miss any of your questions. I'm frantically scrolling backwards to see if I missed. No, the last question I answered was CB Carmack at 9:25, which is 15, 20 minutes ago, about throwing the books behind my back. So no, I did it. I got to the bottom of the chat. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. What am I going to do now? Well, I'll tell you what I can do. I can check to see if there's anybody else I need to thank who might have bought me a coffee. No more coffees, but I see Gerald bought a Mitch Fits t-shirt. Thank you, Gerald. I get notified of everything. God, do I get notifications. I got a lengthy email here. Holy cow. From somebody. Name on YouTube is Gil Ream. He's telling me, he says here he visited with Eric Westman at Duke at his clinic. What a great guy. He spent an hour and 20 minutes with me and encouraged me to come back and see him in a year. Wow. Wishing me the best. His name is Mike. Thank you, Mike. I will read the entire email and shoot you a reply. I try to really pay attention. Sometimes it may be the next day before I can shoot an answer back, but I really another one of my regular emailers says that he believed Ansel Keys lived to be 100 years old. So did he follow his own recommendations? No. Story that you hear is that he became a meat eater and almost reversed his opinion on his earlier stuff. But that the corruption and the money was so great that they actually canceled him in his later years. And if he lived to 100, it was probably because he realized he'd made a huge mistake. That would be a terrible thing if you had any kind of a conscience at all, to realize that you did something wrong. Killed so many people with your advice and your tactics that were crooked and dirty. Realizing you're wrong, you actually try to reverse your opinion and say, I'm sorry. But there's so much money being made, and the entire food industry and pharma industry and the government committees, the recommendations, and so many people had their careers and their reputations built on bad information that they cancel you. And that would be a fitting karma, what goes around comes around, end for Ansel Keys. And might explain why the guy did live to 100 years. I mean, I heard that story. Whether that's a true story or not, how do I know? I didn't know the guy, wasn't there. Thank you for your patience while I do that. Have another sip of coffee. Hot coffee, by the way. And as usual, I've left CB's question up there. I always fail to look at the bottom. The only place that message shows up is on this particular monitor over here. But most of the time I'm looking over here, or I'm looking over here where that message doesn't show up, because this is my camera feed. This is what I'm sending to StreamYard. And I'll go half a live stream sometimes with somebody's comment blocking half the screen. And yet I'm not looking. I don't spend hardly any time looking at that screen right there. That explains why it looks like I'm so forgetful. Well, let me look at the chat. We got through it all. It's 9:45. That's pretty quick for this, but it's great. It's great because then I can deal with the plumbers and not be rushed like crazy. 9:45. Snowsea said canceled Keys. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. It makes sense, especially if he lived to 100. Because most people that follow his advice are those people that are now responsible for the average age of the American male being 76 years old, instead of in the 80s or more. And every year it seems to go down. People are just dying younger and younger, not to mention the young people that are dying now or getting sick in chronic diseases in their friggin' teens and 20s because they were weaned on this stuff, brought up on this stuff, so addicted to this stuff. They can't stop. They can't stop. Okay, you're all chatting away. I guess, my friends, even though I'm 15 minutes over time, I guess we're going to call it a morning, which is probably just as well. I can't believe I got through all that fast. Incredible. Last Sunday morning was our record-breaking attendance live stream. Be curious to see what happens tomorrow morning. I think I did that one in the house with no cigars. So it'll be interesting to see just how many viewers I lose because they're so disgusted with me because I puff on a cigar. How narrow-minded. But people are going to do that. Look, there are certain people I look at, I get disgusted. Especially when I see people sitting somewhere, stuffing their face full of crap that I know is killing them. It is a little off-putting. I don't want to watch it either. So that's your prerogative. Question. Here's Retired Rick has a question way down at the bottom of the chat. Let me scroll all the way down to that over here and put it up on the screen. 4 cups of coffee. Is that too much coffees? Who's to say? Who's to say? There's so many different opinions on coffee. I mean, I would say, as a general rule of thumb, don't drink a ton of caffeine after, say, 2 or 3 in the afternoon. Give it a chance to get out of your system before you go to sleep. Some people, they can drink a cup of coffee right before they go to bed, sleep like a baby. So, we all react differently to these stimulants or depressants. Some people can take sleeping pills by the dozen and never fall asleep. So we all react differently, and it's a personal thing. I drink 3 cups of coffee a day. So if 3 cups of coffee isn't, if I don't think that's bad, obviously 4 cups of coffee is not going to, there's no threshold there. If you told me you drank 20 cups of coffee a day, I would say, well, you might want to revisit that. But yeah, good question, but I think it's a subjective thing. I think you guys are still chatting away to beat the band. Nikki says, Rick, ha ha. It's pretty much all I drink, morning, noon, and night. Yeah. Tell us how it affects you, Nikki. Wow. B81. Max says, I wish I could drink coffee in the morning, but it makes me dizzy. Wow, that's unusual. That's unusual. Usually it wakes people up. See, everybody's different. Mac, I always knew you were a little different, but I kid. Here's getting some late questions today. Question, what, if any, seasonings do you use? Thanks for all you do, Mitch. Susie, absolutely my pleasure to do this. I use, with little exception, I use salt. The only thing I put any seasoning on, and I may even stop this when I run out of it, is I've been using this salt, black pepper, and garlic blend. It's called The Blend. It's made by Kinder. You can get it at Amazon. I've been getting it at Sam's Club. And I just like the flavor it puts. But I don't eat chicken that often, once a week at the most. And I usually air fry my chicken, or I panko pork rind coat it, in which case I don't use that seasoning on it. I just use the panko crumbs. But when I air fry it, either wings or thighs, I like the skin. You want skin when you eat chicken. And I sprinkle just not a whole lot of it, just enough to impart a little bit of seasoning of this pepper, garlic, and salt. But that's it. Other than that, I use no seasonings whatsoever. And I'm very happy. I really developed a love of the taste of meat with just salt. If one of these days I come in here with long hair and a bone in my nose, looking like a caveman, you'll know that the transformation is complete. You can then call me Grog or something like that, because my lifestyle is becoming more and more like a caveman might live, especially when it comes to diet. Although cavemen, unfortunately, didn't have air fryers and all the modern conveniences that we have. All right. I'll tell you what I want to do. I'm going to wrap it up here for this. I almost feel like I'm cheating you guys, finishing early, but what time is it? Almost 5 to 10. That's enough. I'm coming back. So I'm going to put on a little happy music, and you can take a few minutes saying goodbyes. Ann B says, tagline for t-shirt, if the Mitch fits, wear it. I love it. Very clever, B. Very clever. No, I love that. It's great. Thank you. I'll be surprised if you see it on the store page for the t-shirt. Anyway, you guys can say goodbye. And you see how fast these cigars will go out if you don't puff on them at all. They don't keep burning. They're not like cigarettes. They're not going to burn all the way down to the nub. Anyway, guys, a final thanks to CB for providing what was, I think, a very, very interesting subject and topic to talk about today. And we'll talk more about that this afternoon. And B gives me permission to use that tagline. Thank you. No copyright worries there. Glad to hear that. Vicky says, have a wonderful day. We'll try to chime in later. Pamela Suarez, say goodbye. Harry, Dion, Carlos, Sampson, Retired Rick, Jeff Johnson, Aunt B, Booby Goats, Tanya, Kitchen Witch, and the music has come to an end. And so has our little adventure this morning. Remember, 3 o'clock this afternoon, there'll be a panel. Sometimes I wonder why I punish myself like that, but I must be a masochist. No, I love all you guys. I can't wait to see you. I look forward to seeing you this afternoon at 3 p.m. And again, like a bad penny, I will return tomorrow morning at 8:30 for Morning Coffee with Mitch. And my friends, on that note, I think I'll go out on the same music I wrote in on, because I love it. I'm so relaxed right now. It's incredible. Feeling good. All right. You know the thing. You know the thing. Take the rest of the day off until 3 and eat meat.